Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1 minute past 10. My name is Kamohelo Mokgotsi, spokesperson for the Minister of Police. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Let me also acknowledge the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, as well as the Deputy Ministers, Mr. Cassel Mathale and Ms. Boshielo, as well as the DG of the Civilian Secretariat, DG Police, General Masemola. Without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, I will call upon the Minister to come and just outline the Ministry's priorities for the 7th administration. Minister?
There's no space here. So I'll put it like this. I would have wanted to. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kamo. May I acknowledge Deputy Ministers that are here. Deputy Minister Cassel Mathale, Deputy Minister Boshielo. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the National Commissioner, General Fani Masimula, and the Head of Civilian Secretariat. I want to also acknowledge your presence here today, and we appreciate it to all of you, members of the media, and also everybody else who may be attending this press briefing. I also acknowledge the presence of other police officers that are here, and Special Advisor, Uspikuli, and other people that we work with. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We are humbled and honored to have been given this enormous responsibility, the three of us at ministerial level. And of course, I would want to believe that General Masimula and his colleagues feel very particularly honored to be given this responsibility in the 7th administration in particular, to ensure the responsibility of ensuring the safety of South Africans. Now, Chapter 11 of the Constitution of the Republic outlines the mandate of the South African Police. It underscores our fundamental duty to ensure safety and security for all. We have spent the first week in office meeting with the executive management led by General Masimula, meeting provincial commissioners together with divisional heads of the South African Police Services. We have also done this to ensure that we have a broad understanding of the portfolio, including the challenges and opportunities, so that we can map out the priorities. In addition to meeting SAP's top brass, we have also benefited from briefings from the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigation, the Hawks, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, IPID, the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority, CIRA, and the Civilian Secretariat to the Police Services. We have also noted and appreciate the statements issued by various organizations and institutions within the security arena, offering recommendations, advices, and how together we can take the fight against crime forward and build safer communities and a safer South Africa. Engagements with the Portfolio Committee on Police and the National Assembly has been invaluable and presented helpful suggestions and comments. Members of the public have also expressed their views on radio, on television, on newspapers and digital media platforms, expressing their fears, expressing their hopes, and others expressing confidence, their expectations and support. We appreciate the comments and have taken them into consideration as we map the way forward. We would like at this stage to express our confidence to the National Commissioner, that is General Fani, I don't know, Masimula, and all other people that he works with, and in particular the National Deputy Commissioners, including provincial commissioners. This expression of confidence comes from or flows from the briefings that they've exchanged with us, the responses to the questions that we have raised with them, the concerns where we needed to express concerns, how they responded to those concerns. It all has given us confidence that their leadership on their own, as far as police management is concerned, and we therefore take this opportunity to express that. And we chose to do so here so that all of you are aware that we as ministry, we have full confidence, and also in his presence, that we have full confidence in your commission. We are cautious of this exercise as we do it, but we hope that they will continue to work hard and earn that confidence that we are giving to them. We will give the National Commissioner enough space to operate and to exercise his duties, whilst we exercise oversight and provide necessary leadership as ministry, as it will be necessary. Our initial observations and priorities. We will continue to interact with management of SAPS and various stakeholders, including unions within the portfolio, as part of our work. However, our observations following briefings in the recent past or in the recent week are as follows. One, the crime levels in the country are on the increase and are intolerable. We need to act decisively and bring this situation under control. The levels and type of crime differ from one province to the other. We need to take this into account as we implement the integrated national crime prevention strategy. This scenario also requires that we think about what management system is needed overall within the police service, which will enable us to respond effectively to these serious challenges that we are facing. It is our view and understanding that tough measures may need to be taken to reduce crime where necessary. The leading crimes in the country currently are conduct crimes such as murders, rape, as well as hijackings and kidnappings for ransom payments, and the killing of women and children also continue to be cause for concern and serious concern at that, and warrants intensive action from law enforcement. It is for this reason that we're saying there are going to be definitely instances where we need to take tough action as we move forward. Our mission is clear. Our country must be safe for all citizens. People all over South Africa must be able to move around anytime without fear of marauding criminals. Gang violence, we have observed, is also on the rise. Noticeably in the Western Cape, the situation must be brought under control so that children in the Cape Flats, children in Khayelitsha and other areas are safe. We're also worried about parts of Nelson Mandela Bay, parts of Gauteng, where crime is relatively higher than elsewhere. And these situations, as we say, they are going to require our urgent attention. We literally want children to play free on the streets without being hit by straight bullets and any other related dangers. We take the issue of construction mafias in the country very seriously. This trend is associated with destructive activities which disrupt construction and infrastructure development, which our country urgently requires. Genuine quests for economic transformation can be handled through the correct channels and using existing policy prescripts without resorting to hijacking construction sites and using extortion to source business. This matter will continue to receive our urgent attention. On legislative amendments and policy, we will prioritize the amendments of the South African Police Services Act as it is outdated in relation to some aspects thereof that we have looked at. For instance, it still makes incorrect references to the 1993 interim constitution. We believe this is outdated and it needs to be brought to date. It needs to be in line with the modern day crime fighting and prevention demands. We will also finalize the national policy on policing so that we have a functional policy on policing. It must take into account provincial needs and dynamics and also provincial priorities. On professionalization of police, central to our strategy is the urgent need to professionalize SAPS and instill positive ethical values, patriotism, and understanding that the primary duty of a police officer is to always serve and protect the public. Uprooting corruption and removing corrupt police officers from SAPS will remain a top priority as we move on. Misconduct by SAPS members will not be tolerated, and action will be taken. We want to change the negative perceptions of our police officers. People must respect police officers. They must have confidence in them, and they must feel safe in their midst. Professionalism is also part of protection mechanism for themselves. If they act professionally, chances of them protecting themselves just by acting professionally are there and are larger than when they conduct themselves in an unprofessional way. Tools of trade and training. Our police officers need to work in a conducive environment. We are committed to ensuring that our police stations are well resourced. We have to provide the necessary tools and vehicles to serve our communities effectively. We have listened to a lot of presentations from police officers, especially those who are in provinces, via provincial commissioners, indicating some dilapidation of some of the police stations. This we need to act on urgently. So over the past 20 years, over 20,000 new police officers have been trained. We will strive to continue bolstering capacity and to enhance police training. Police officer must attend regular refresher courses to stay operationally ready. We will also strengthen some existing units within the police so that we provide for some of the crimes that that we see growing in our country and require certain specialized attention. Now, on technology, criminals have become sophisticated over years, and old-fashioned crime fighting and detection methods will not succeed. Criminals must not be ahead of us. We must be ahead of them when it comes to technology, so that we are able to combat crime and prevent even the newest methods of criminal activities among them. At the moment, it's not the case, and we're worried about that. The integration of technology in police services is therefore crucial and urgent for enhancing the efficiency, effectiveness, and overall capability of law enforcement. We will prioritize the rollout of new technologies to detect and deter crimes. Advanced technologies such as data analytics, artificial intelligence, surveillance systems, and digital communication tools enable police to better predict, prevent, and respond to criminal activities. These tools provide officers with real-time information, improve decision-making, and facilitate faster, more accurate investigations. Technology also enhances transparency and accountability and fosters greater public trust. We will benchmark against other successful law enforcement agencies worldwide and endeavor to bring SAPS on par with the best in terms of technology and operational efficiency. On crime intelligence is the backbone of policing and will be an apex priority on our side. Robust crime intelligence capabilities are essential for maintaining public safety, reducing crime rates, and fostering a secure environment for communities. Certainly, our budget as it stands at the moment, just for this financial year, will need to be reviewed at some point when the first opportunity arises, so that we cater for increased capacity as far as crime intelligence is concerned. Firearms control. There are too many guns out there in our communities all over the Republic. Just people feeling that they must carry firearms all over, and thereby increasing danger to citizens that are law-abiding. And this is certainly contributing to the high levels of murders in the country. Now, we are intensifying our efforts to remove illegal firearms from our streets and ensuring improved gun control measures. In this regard, the private security industry legislation have had an engagement with the regulatory authority, as we have indicated above, and some areas of concern in this regard have been identified, and they've started working on those. But we're convinced that we need to be tighter, and we need to effectively control availability of guns in our society. Safety of our personnel. The safety of police officers is a priority. We condemn the attacks and killings of police officers, whether they are on or off duty. And we do want to send a warning out there that interfering or attacking any police officer is really the attack on the state. Police are among the only few officials that are mandated to protect all of us. Now, if you attack them, you must know you are launching an attack on the state. And therefore, you will be regarded and treated as such. Anyone who attacks a police officer is declaring war, as I've indicated, on the state and the people of South Africa. They are attacking the buffer between the citizens and criminals. And this will not be tolerated. Our hearts go out to those who have lost their loved ones in this line of duty or even off duty. Those who attack police officers will face the full might of the law. Building strong partnerships. We cannot win the war against crime alone as government. We will partner with community policing forums. We will partner with the private sector, that is business in particular. But we'll also partner with the private security industry. We will partner with communities. We will partner with community-based organizations. We will partner with sectoral organizations such as those protecting the rights of women and children. Faith-based organizations, traditional councils, organized labor, and non-governmental organizations dedicated to the fight against crime. Working together, we will make progress towards making our country safer. And we stand here to invite all these organizations and more that we work together, and including some specific departments of government that we'll be working with. As I conclude, want to once more say, ladies and gentlemen, we will deliver our budget vote speech in the National Assembly tomorrow, on the 16th of July, where we shall outline the program of action for this year. We are convinced, working together, we can beat crime, create an environment to grow our economy and make South Africans feel safer in our townships, in our villages, in our suburbs, in our towns, cities, streets, and places of work. We have been receiving calls from all over, people pleading that we intervene in particular situations. And this includes in areas policed by some police stations where we think services need to be improved drastically, where cases disappear without a full explanation. We invite everyone, including yourselves, the media, to join us and work on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to move to our first round of questions. I do acknowledge that we have colleagues that are joining us via the virtual platforms, but for now, I would like to start with the first round, taking hands from the floor. May I can maybe try that one? Yes.
That talks about timelines. Can you just take the country into your confidence in terms of what are the targets that we're looking at in reducing these unbearable crime levels? And secondly, to the Minister as well, what has the Police Commissioner said to you in terms of what is needed from a supportive role as the Minister to the SAPS? And lastly, how are you going to tackle corruption within the SAPS?
Thank you very much.
Corruption. How are you going to tackle corruption within the SAPS?
Number two. Yes, can I ask you to switch that mic off? Yes.
Good morning, Minister. My name is Boshielo from Pioneer. We talk about needing serious interventions for the killing of women and children,
Thank you very much. We had a third hand up there.
Morning, Ministers and Commissioner. My question regards the focus on intensifying efforts about firearms. Given that in 2023, SAPS lost 740 firearms, is reducing the number of firearms lost by SAPS also one of your priorities?
Okay. Can we take two last ones? One here, and then Yusuf will conclude with you.
My name is Ronnie from NHN News. I wanted to know what are some of the causes of the high crime rates and violence in the top 10 stations in the country? And what are some of the interventions that the government has done to reduce crime and violence in these top 10 stations?
Thank you. Lastly, Yusuf.
Excuse me, from Crime Watch. I think congratulations first of all to you, Minister, and to the Deputy Minister. You have an office to work from, and your predecessor claimed that you work from home. Have you been able to secure an office? And secondly, a report this morning suggested that the VIP protection unit last year got a bigger allocation of funds compared to the gender-based violence unit. How are you going to handle your budget tomorrow when it comes to the VIP protection unit versus some of the other units? Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are certain questions that will thus be attended to by the Minister, and I suppose some will be responded to by the National Commissioner. Minister? Yes, the setup is here, please.
I would have preferred that the mic goes there so that we share some of the questions, but it is fine. Deputy Ministers will fill in. The first question is timelines and targets. We would, by all means, just like you feel, have loved to have timelines, tangible timelines and targets. But we're not in a position to do so exactly at the moment. You will note that we're right at the beginning, and we're not necessarily avoiding having timelines and having targets, but we want to be cautious. We want to have a start, size the nature of the problem and complexity out there, and we can only do that in the field when we start rolling out our programs and actions. But as for starting to act, that is we are right in the field at the moment. Police have never stopped acting against crime. All we are saying is that we are going to be intensifying. We are going to making sure that we multiply the activities that are happening there. We even endorsed the reports of all the intervention activities in particular geographical areas. And we said if there is to be any difference at all, it is to intensify those. And we're given specific areas where there are key interventions that are happening right now. We assured Commissioner Masimula that those must stay in place and rather be improved wherever they are, including those that are in communities, mobilizing communities. But in terms of some of the activities that we're going to be engaging on, we will invite you as and when we go to the field. But when are we then seeing a turnaround? We will answer that question as we move on and as people give us evidence of the impact of our interventions on the ground. The second one is what kind of support did police say they need from us? Our support to police is indicated in the Constitution and in broader mandates from the communities. We will offer our leadership to police, political leadership. we will offer, and we agreed on that, guidance to police. We will also give them support when they put their programs forward and say, this is what we are doing currently. In fact, they've already indicated that, as I indicate, that there are interventions all over the country, there are activities all over the country. We've already expressed our support on that and endorsement of those. And I take it that on Friday when we parted ways, police were very sure that whatever they are doing out there, it has our support and endorsement. But of course, things like your budget, clarity in terms of work that we do together with other agencies and so on, those are some of the specific things that we're going to be working on going forward. There is also a question on how are we going to be dealing with corruption within the police. Firstly, we are expressing here, and National Commissioner Masimula did in their report emphasize the abhorrence of corruption within the police ranks and indicated what they are doing about it. We are happy with the actions that they have taken, or that they are taking and they're prepared to take. And so word out there to the police must be clear that they need to avoid acts of corruption, because they are the surest and the shortest way of them having to leave the police via disciplinary measures and other actions that will be taken against them. It won't be tolerated at all. Now, protecting women, what will be these interventions? Now, one of these interventions is that we feel that it is going to be necessary to tighten our relations with departments like Department of Women, Children, and People with Disabilities, and there's a minister there. We need to talk about those and even go to an extent of some memoranda of understanding where necessary, so that in particular when it comes to reacting to such situations, we act in close proximity with that department, including the Department of Social Development. Very often, by training, police are not necessarily in their numbers trained to deal with issues of welfare. They are there in particular to deal with issues of protecting society, and therefore they would need help in those. So we'll tighten those working relations among other things. Of course, generally women and children will benefit from some of the interventions that we'll do as ordinary members of society. But as you know, they often fall victim when they are too exposed to gangs and all of those activities happening out there. Then the other question is firearms looted. Ordinarily, there shouldn't be any firearm that we lose while in possession of police, be it firearms in personal possession of a police officer, or firearms in transit with vans, police vans, or firearms in police stations. We shouldn't be losing those. And therefore, we will have to review how we handle these situations ordinarily, so that we tighten control. But also, we will look at the whole practice that is out there and say, look, they are a target. And in some cases, it's firearms that are a target. But because they are a target, firearms are a target, they also target police with a view to taking whatever firearm. And therefore, we need to tighten controls and improve our vigilance generally and our alertness as police officers on this matter. But we are going to be looking at statistics as well per annum, and look at whether what we are doing and what we are going to be doing is necessarily having an impact on the decline of lost firearms in the first place. But even if firearms get lost, we need to recover them. We need to follow up because they soon become very active and an increased matter unnecessarily. And therefore, we are discussing possibility of some technology with regard to firearms, but we are continuing to engage on these matters. But you are pointing out at something very important. We shouldn't be seen to be increasing the availability of firearms, illegal firearms in the streets, ourselves as police. Now, causes of murders, what is being done about them? Now, causes of murders are varied, and there are many. But some of them point to various periods at which we see murders increasing, either in the week or even during a day. They took us through those reports, and they also have something to do with proximity of places of enjoyment like taverns and all of that. But these will continue to interrogate and with a view to be much more accurate, so that our methods of combating this is very close to such situations where these situations get on the increase. But with regard to some provinces, they are pointers to drugs, and they are pointers to a number of other problems, of course, like alcohol and so on. But we are not the ones who are going to start talking like we are excusing people to be criminal just because there are drugs, just because there is this and that. We are merely responding to your question. We are going to be treating crime as crime and not say, yeah, because of 1, 2, 3, so it is less of a crime. That is not going to be part of the game. We are going to confront crime and so on. But we're interested, of course, on the causes and the roots of such things like drugs and so on. And therefore, we're going to be looking at that as part of our prevention regime, so that we don't just deal with the problem in the house, but we also trace it from outside and act on the preventive side. Now, the last couple of questions have to do with crime again. Are we going to be giving bigger funding for crimes relating to, or first, the offices? Someone is asking for offices. Yes, I have an office. I was led to an office here in Pretoria and in Cape Town. I'm not going to ask any other question from the past. All I know is that I have an office. And if you want to see it, I'll invite you to come and see my office. Now, bigger funding for women and children. Yes, we haven't looked specifically at this particular aspect of work, but we're going to be looking at it just like in crime intelligence, where we're saying as and when the first opportunity arises, we will review our budget with a view to juggling our allocations as the need arises. We will look at that. Thank you very much.
I do believe we did have a question that was more so directed to the National Commissioner. National Commissioner, would you like to respond? The top 10 stations and the plan.
Thanks. Good morning, Minister, Deputy Ministers, and the viewers. Top 10 stations, especially, well, we work on top 30, especially on conduct crimes. The causes of crime in those areas varies. Alcohol is one of them. And of course, the social fabric also play a role. Some of the GBV crimes happen indoors, but in terms of our plans, we, as the Minister have said, we are going to reinforce our plans to make sure that there is compliance in terms of legislations regarding liquor. There should be also compliance in terms of closing times of liquor establishment, but also our plans are focusing in those stations to say we are pumping resources in terms of be it vehicles and police members to those stations with a view to change them. We can't have them as top 30 or top 10 all the time. So we are going to focus our resources to those stations by the provincial commissioners, and where necessary, we also have national interventions which will focus to fight crime at those specific stations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, National Commissioner. I just wanted to confirm that we do not have any questions from the digital platforms. Batabile? Okay, thank you very much. I see a series of hands going up. I am going to limit it to 3. I will allow for 3 questions. New hands. I see one gentleman with the glasses in the front, second lady there, and I'll take a 3rd question here. Okay, we can go with the first one. Thank you. We'll take the second question.
Good morning. This is Gerardo from KCE. Minister, police are investigating the letter of proceeding of Johannesburg police investigator, Benedict Sithole, who was gunned down on Thursday. And there are reports that suggest that his killing was totally orchestrated here, and he was held against the latest investigation. Has anyone been arrested, and what have the police uncovered so far?
We'll take the last hand. Thank you very much. We'll start with the Minister responding to some of the questions, and then I will then ask the National Commissioner to respond to the one question.
Thank you very much once more. Some of the questions will be responded to by National Commissioner Masmula. First one, what are the tough measures that we're looking at? I can't say specifically, but generally to say some situations and some of the crimes in some provinces, as reported on by the National Police Commissioner and provincial commissioners, are happening because of certain gaps and certain weaknesses, and also because of, taking advantage of the nature of responses from police in terms of capacity and all of that. So it's clear, and I must add, some people have formed themselves into gangs in some parts of the country. They don't act alone as individuals. Now, in those instances, they act knowingly that they are breaking the law, and they are prepared to fight for space to continue breaking the law and threatening other people and so on. They do this deliberately. Now, if a person acts like that and plan and take and actually go on elaborate plans to fight, there's not the kind of situation that you can just face with an individual policeman and so on. You've got to plan how to combat that, but you also have to be prepared to take tough action on that. Not only when there's resistance, but to make sure that people who find themselves in such situations don't get back to such situations again. Now, some of the things that we will be doing, we'll just do them, and you will see as and when we act. Then, on building trust, of course, trust is earned, and it's earned over time. And it's professionalism on one hand, it's accountability on the other, and it's openness and transparency that builds trust when you deal with communities. When a person comes to the police station to open a case, how do they get treated? And how do we make follow-ups? And what is the conversations in the community about about the impact of police on what people regard as crime and criminal activities in their area? So the way in which we deal with those situations must earn us, and police in particular, confidence and credibility. And therefore, we are going to be taking stock of what's happening under each police station area, look at the performance of each police commissioner, and generally how they are dealing with issues like this, and record this so that we intervene with a view to saying this kind of situation in your policing area shouldn't take place. For that effect, that it's for that reason that we are wanting to define what a police station is. What are the characteristics of a functional police station? So that we have norms and standards for each police station in terms of functionality. And therefore, we look at policing against those norms and standards that we will have discussed and adopted and agree on with police. Because it's only against those norms and standards that we can see whether we're making progress or not making progress. And these we'll share with the public and other public fora that are interested in policing. We'll work together with them. And then the time frame for police stations, we need to be given an opportunity, because we are going to have a meeting. We've already taken that resolution. We will have a meeting to look at all police stations in the country, especially those that need to be built. We'll work out a mechanism that will say up to now, this is how we've been building police stations and other infrastructure for police. How have we performed in the past? How do we, is there a need to change from that mechanism to another mechanism? We have already decided that we will need another mechanism. Now, once we have that mechanism in place, we'll be able to give you some more specifics on the time frames. But what we know now is that we're going to be meeting as urgently as possible to look at how to go about on the to change the status quo as far as police stations are concerned. Remember, we regard police stations as a basis from which you are going to be combating crime. Police commissioner nationally is based in Pretoria, but he moves around and so on. Now, when he moves around, he must learn somewhere. And where he learns, it must be police stations and police areas that are functional, so that he makes interventions for improvements and so on in an otherwise a functional police station. And therefore, ourselves. But we will be able to answer specifically on the timeframes once we have sized up everything, and then a new mechanism of dealing with this. But we do need to make police stations functional. Now, General Masimula will deal with the killing of a police officer, and also the issue of the newsroom business. For now, thank you very much.
Thanks, thanks very much. With regard to the matter of Benedict Sithole, the case is still under investigation. We will be able to brief when we made some inroads in terms of the case where we are. We'll definitely, the case has been prioritized by the Provincial Commissioner on that. With regard to issues of strengthening our crime intelligence, we did, as you know, last year put in some numbers there. We have appointed some senior management new in that division, and this year again we have prioritized them to give more members in that space, and of course we have to train them first before they get there. So we are busy rebuilding the unit, and there is a remarkable success that we see out of that specific unit. For example, especially around intelligence on CITs. You know that a week past we had a couple of CITs in the Eastern Cape where the intelligence were able to give the operational members, and we successfully arrested over 8 people and a number of firearms. So we definitely are making inroads there. Just this past week, Friday in Northwest Jubatina, we arrested 4 what we call construction mafia people there that were worrying in that specific area. So we're able to arrest them. I think the next question was, yeah, I think basically I'm sure it's those, unless I forget something.
Thank you, National Commission. We have come to the end of our briefing session. Thank you very much for your attendance and participation. Thank you.